Hello and welcome to a brand new Blendhow tutorial, and basically it's a remake of another tutorial that I'd started. But to be honest, I wasn't happy with the recording because things kept failing and everything. And I decided I could remake it. And now this is what's going to happen is we're going to be making a Tardis with doors like this that I can rotate. That can rotate on a hinge-ish like thing, like that. And I think we should be able to do it in about under three tutorials. So, right, let's start. Now, if we open a fresh Blender file, and for probably the first time in any Blender tutorial, we're going to keep the default cube. So we take the cube, select it by right-clicking it if you haven't already. You'll notice the cube is selected by seeing that it has a kind of orangey yellow line. I'm not sure if you can see that on the recording, but you'll definitely see that in your Blender window. So if it has that, then you'll have selected it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press Tab on the keyboard to go into edit mode, or as you can see here, we've got this little button here, which if we click on, we can go to edit mode from there. Right. So before we do anything else, I'm going to turn off this little button here, which is basically what it does. It stops you seeing through the mess. See, if I turn it off now, you can kind of see the lines through it. So if you have it on, then you can't. So if you say, if I deselect it by pressing A, if I select that much there of the cube there without it on, you can select things on the other side, but if I select that with it on, then it only selects these ones. So sometimes it's useful, but for what we're doing right now, we don't want that. So if we select this by pressing B and then dragging, pressing B and then dragging with your mouse over to select this, making sure that that has been turned off. What we're going to do now is we're going to press G, then press Z on the keyboard, and then drag your cursor down a bit more. Basically what this is doing is moving the selected vertices down along the selected thing, axis, and we're doing it along the Z axis, which is why you can see this blue line popped up now. And what we're going to do, you can see these other lines on the screen that have nothing to do with that. There's the red line. If we want to kind of get that under the red line somewhere, so about here, kind of a nice sort of rectangle shape. And next what we're going to do is we're going to move around using the numpad keys. And what we're going to do is let's go to top view, which is 7 on your numpad, and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to move this bit down here. So to do that, let's press G and Y and down to here, and do that. And then if we press B, G, and then X, and then drag that to here. So now we have a kind of squarey shape. Oh, sorry. Now we have a kind of square shape, which is, well, it's squarish. So what we want to do now is we want to go out of edit mode by pressing tab again, or going here in object mode, and then what we want to do, let's drag this menu over a little bit. We want to press this, we have to go over to this little spanner menu here, making sure this is still selected, and then what we're going to do is under add modifier, we're going to add a mirror modifier. So we've got back to the rectangle shape, but you're probably asking yourself, why are we doing this if we just kind of got rid of that, if we just kind of made into the square from the rectangle shape? Well, there's good reasons. Basically, these are going to come kind of... Well, when we make the bigger part of the TARDIS, it's going to be pretty much in two halves. And so what we've done now is we've created one half, which is our original half here, and then using this, it mirrors this half and puts it on that half. So we don't have to do exactly the same thing for both sides. We can just do it on one half and it'll do it on the other half, and that's all done. And actually, just quickly, I've just noticed that I just want to drag this down a bit more in top view. Little tip, if you're dragging it down, you can press Control to kind of snap it to the grid, which are these kind of little square things. So, you know, it's kind of all evenish and doesn't go off and all. But anyway, you don't need to worry about that for now. One thing I will say, in case I haven't said that already, is when you're moving something, say this vertice, if you move it and then just click with and click the left button on your mouse, then it will, you know, it will stop. It will keep in the place you put it. But if you undo that, if you just do that and then press the right button, then it goes back to where it was. So, just in case you didn't know that. Now, another thing we want to do, if we just minimise that by clicking on this little arrow here. Oh, first of all, we want to set clipping. That's very important, because if you go into edit mode now, without clipping, so if I just turn that off, you drag that apart, and it'll drag apart, you know, and it'll overlap and everything. But we don't want that. We want it to kind of, you know, stick together here, and we want that to kind of be one vertex instead of two. So if we check clipping here, then it won't... Oh. Well, anyway, it will move apart, but it won't go past each other that way. Even though it looks like it is there. It isn't. Just take my word for that. And it will kind of stick together, so reasonably well. So that's a useful tool to use. So if I just press escape and go out of edit mode. Now, what we're going to do, minimise that, make sure you have clipping set. We're going to add another modifier, and that's going to be our array modifier. These aren't in the right place. You see, they're all overlapping. Or if you click that, you can see they're all overlapping. So that's not very nice view. So let's go out of that. Now, if we press Z on the keyboard, then we go into wireframe view, FIB, then select that. Now, G, X, and move that along until you see these. Basically what we're doing is we want this point to join up with that point, you know, so those 2 points. So, and then these two will make them join together. So let's keep doing that. G, X. There we go. Now, if I press the little kind of full stop thing on the numpad, then it will zoom in on this point, and you can see here, yep, that's joined. Right, good. So now what we've got is we've got a nice old little thing. Except no, what? Sorry, if you did just go and do all that, I want to really just go and undo all of that, because we're not doing that yet. That is actually a later stage. So what we want to do now, just undo that with Control Z a few times, so we get back to this. Now if we select this half, and we press S to scale the thing down, and then we press, and then, you know, right clicking, no, left clicking to, you know, put it in place. Then we press G, X, move it along. Oh, but make sure it does it right. There we go. Just till it gets the green line. Don't go too far, it will start kind of shrinking itself. But now, we just want a kind of thing like that. And actually, if we select that again, we can actually make that a bit smaller. Right. So there we are. That is all we're going to do for now, because we've run out of time on the video, I'm afraid. So, until next time, thank you. Oh, and just before we go, let's save. So, Control S. What we're going to do, see I've done these before, that's from the previous.